Hello, viewers! Welcome to Timeless Tale Stories. We share fairy tales from cultures all around the world, and we post new stories every day.
Tonight's legend is about three brothers, hidden powers, and the kind of loyalty that can pull someone back from the edge of death. Listen closely, because in this story, the quietest brother carries the sharpest fate, and the smallest decision can change an entire kingdom. Long ago, a poor woodcutter lived with his three sons, Andrew, Michael, and Jacob. The family could barely survive. There was little food and no steady work. One day, the brothers asked their father for permission to travel far away and search for a trade that could bring them a better life. Their father agreed, but as they set off, he ran after them, breathless, and called them back. "My sons," he said, "may your road be blessed. But remember my warning. If you come to a thick reed marsh, do not camp there, and do not even stop to rest. If you pass it, you will meet a lone grave. Do not camp there either. Farther still, you will reach many graves together. Do not camp there, and do not rest. Keep going, no matter what." The brothers promised and continued. They walked for weeks, then months. Their clothes grew thin, their shoes wore down, and their hunger followed them like a shadow. One afternoon, near late prayer time, they reached a vast marsh of reeds so dense it looked like a green sea. "Father warned us," Andrew said. "We must pass through and camp beyond it." So they entered the reeds. They walked and walked, but the marsh did not end. The sun sank. Dusk turned to darkness. The reeds whispered in the wind, and the path vanished behind them. "If we keep moving, we'll lose our direction," one of them said. "Let's camp here. Whatever happens will be God's will." Reluctantly, they agreed. That night, Andrew stood guard while Michael and Jacob ate what little they had and fell asleep. Hours passed. The moon rose, then disappeared behind thick clouds. The darkness grew heavy. Then something strange happened. One cloud lowered itself toward the ground as if it had weight and intention, drifting straight toward the sleeping brothers. Andrew gripped his dagger. The air felt colder. The reeds bent as the shadow approached. Andrew stepped into the blackness and met it head-on. He barely understood what he was fighting, only that it was alive, powerful, and dangerous. He wrestled, struck, and held on as the wind roared around him. At last, with a final surge of strength, Andrew slammed the creature down. When he wiped the sweat from his brow and looked around, dawn was already breaking. Beneath him lay a yellow bird with 7 heads, strange and fierce, even in death. Andrew cut away a long strip of strong hide from its back and folded it into his pocket. He returned to his brothers and lay down as if nothing had happened. In the morning they rose, warmed what they could, and continued. Michael and Jacob did not ask what Andrew had seen. Andrew did not tell. After many days they came upon the lone grave. They were tired, and the ground nearby looked flat enough to rest. They forgot their father's warning and camped anyway. That night, Michael kept watch. Curiosity tugged at him. Why did Father tell us not to stop here? He thought. I will learn the reason. He walked around the grave and found a stone that glowed faintly in the darkness, lighting the grave's interior as if it held captured fire. When he lifted the stone, a hidden door was revealed beneath it. Michael climbed down. Below, he discovered a chamber filled with gold coins, ornaments, and treasure stacked high. At the far end was another door. Michael opened it and froze. A 7-headed giant lay sleeping inside. Michael stepped forward and woke it. The giant rose with a roar, and the two fought in the underground darkness. They struggled until Michael gained the advantage, struck the giant down, and cut off 6 heads, leaving one. The remaining head begged, "Spare me, do not kill me, let us be friends." It offered Michael a ring of keys, and showed him room after room of treasure wealth beyond imagining. Michael took the keys, then fearing betrayal finished the giant and sealed the place behind him. By the time he climbed back up, the sky had begun to pale with morning. Michael returned to camp and lay beside his brothers. Again, no questions, no answers. The brothers walked on. As sunset fell one evening, they reached the place of many graves. They camped, and that night Jacob took his turn to guard. While Andrew and Michael slept, Jacob wandered among the mounds. Suddenly he heard loud voices rising from under the earth. "Prepare 60 trays for us," the voices shouted. Jacob listened, then boldly called back, "Make 1 tray for me too." At once, the ground opened. A creature grabbed him and dragged him down through a hidden passage. Jacob descended stairs into a vast underground hall where 60 giants sat crowded together. These giants had been tormenting a nearby kingdom. The human king feared them so much that every day he fed them enormous feasts, 60 camels for supper and 60 sheep for lunch, because they threatened to destroy his people. They were now preparing to fight each other, each hoping to win the king's beautiful daughter. Jacob sat among them with calm eyes. A huge tray of meat was carried in so heavy that several men could barely lift it and place before him. Jacob ate it quickly, returned the bones, and swallowed even the last scraps. The giants stared. Nervously, they brought him another. Jacob finished it too, and another. In the end, Jacob consumed 61 trays, leaving nothing for the giants. A cold fear spread through their hall. Jacob stood up. "Come to me one by one when I call you," he said. The giants obeyed, shaken by his strength. One by one they approached, and one by one Jacob struck them down until all 60 were defeated. As proof, he cut off their ears, tied them in cloth, and climbed back to the surface. He returned to camp, lay down, and waited for morning. At dawn, the brothers continued and soon reached a great city filled with noise and celebration. "What has happened here?" they asked. The people said, "For 2 years, terrible giants demanded food from our king, and our land suffered heavy taxes to feed them. But a blessed hero killed them all and took their ears. Now the king says, 'Whoever killed them will receive my daughter and my throne.' Yet the hero cannot be found." The brothers said nothing and stayed quietly at the home of a poor old woman. Many men arrived claiming victory, bringing ears as proof. But the king compared their offerings and laughed bitterly. A giant's ear should be huge, yet these were as small as a cat's. At last the king asked, "Who remains uncalled?" Someone answered, "3 travelers are staying at that old woman's house." Messengers came to summon them. The travelers refused, saying they were exhausted. Even the chief minister came, and the brothers answered boldly, "If the king truly needs us, let him come himself." The king hesitated, then thought, "If they speak with such confidence, perhaps they are the ones." He went in person, greeted them with respect, and invited them to his palace. There he asked, "Where do you come from? What deeds have you done?" Then the brothers finally revealed their proof. Andrew placed the strip of hide before him. Michael laid down the ring of keys. Jacob dropped the cloth of ears. The king trembled with astonishment and joy. He held a grand feast and offered his daughter and throne to Jacob. But Jacob refused. "If you give honor," Jacob said, "give it first to my eldest brother. If you will not, I will not accept." The king could not deny such fairness, so he crowned Andrew king and gave him the princess. Andrew ruled, and peace returned. After some time, Michael and Jacob chose the road again. Before they left, Andrew asked them what special gifts they carried. Michael said, "In desperate need, I can drink an entire sea in one gulp." Jacob said, "My life is bound to my folded blade. If it is taken from me, I die. If it stays with me, arrows cannot kill me, water cannot drown me, and fire cannot burn me." "And how will I know your fate?" Andrew asked. "I will watch the sky," Andrew answered himself. "From the stars, I will know." Years later, Michael and Jacob arrived in another kingdom haunted by a dragon that demanded a girl each day. The next victim was the king's daughter. Jacob went alone to the lonely white yurt. When the dragon came roaring like storm wind, Jacob unfolded his mighty blade. The dragon swallowed him, but the blade split the beast from within, and Jacob emerged alive. The princess tore a piece from his cloak as proof. The king tried to reward Jacob with throne and daughter. Jacob again insisted honor for his brother first, but in time the king still raised Jacob high, for none could deny his victory. Jacob traveled onward and reached a city beside a towering white-domed palace, where 3 giant brothers lived with a beautiful sister. Jacob defeated the giants and married the sister after burying them with respect. But a wicked old woman, sent by a jealous king, slowly entered their home with false kindness. She tricked Jacob's wife into asking where his life was hidden. Then she drugged them, stole Jacob's folded blade, and threw it into a river. Without it, Jacob died. The witch hid his body and trapped the grieving wife in a golden chest, delivering her to the jealous king. Far away, King Andrew looked up and saw a star bleeding. He knew Jacob had fallen. Andrew rode out with an army, found Michael, and together they followed the trail of Jacob's sword mark to the river. Michael drank the river dry until the folded blade gleamed in the sand. They recovered Jacob's body, washed him, and Andrew fastened the blade back to its rightful place, whispering a sacred blessing. Jacob opened his eyes. With truth revealed, Jacob returned to the city of false celebration, exposed the jealous king, rescued his wife, and punished the witch. Justice returned, and the brothers reunited stronger, wiser, and bound together by trials no ordinary men could survive. And so this tale reminds us, true power is not only in strength, but in honor. True victory is not taking everything, but sharing what is right. And when family stands together, even death can be challenged, and a single star in the sky can call a brother home. Thank you for listening to Timeless Tales. Until next time, may your path be guided by wisdom, and may your heart remain loyal to those who stand beside you.